Viewers, hello and welcome to a new episode of our program Windows, during which we bring you the latest and also we discuss several issues in many fields. Today we are discussing the virtues of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in the occasion of the birth of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And in this issue we have the pleasure to have with us today our dear guest, Dr. Asmaa Elzieny, the academic researcher at Al-Azhar. Good day to you.
Good day, you too.
This is a very special occasion for the Muslims and especially the people in Egypt. So give us an idea about the manifestations of celebrating this occasion in Egypt.
Actually, the occasion of the birth of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is one of the dearest and the most appreciated Islamic occasions in the whole Islamic world, not only in Egypt. Of course, the spirit of celebrations in Egypt are so different from all over the world. Yes. Because the true love that the Egyptian have for the character and the virtues of our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is very clear, something that is inherent inside our hearts and our souls.
Yes. So what are the virtues of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him?
The virtues of our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, are countless. We cannot sit to just number one by one. So we are going to focus on some of these virtues. The main virtues that came in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لَقَدْ جَاءَكُمْ رَسُولٌ مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ عَزِيزٌ عَلَيْهِ مَا عَنِتُّمْ. Our Prophet is a human. This is something so clear that we should be making it so clear. He's a human, but having a degree of manners and characteristics that made him have this degree that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this position as being a prophet. You know that all prophets are chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala among the elite of humanity.
Yes.
What are these characteristics? Even before revelation and being a prophet, peace be upon him, he was known as as-sadiq al-amin.
Yes.
Being
honest.
Yeah, being honest. Yes. And to trustfulness, and having trustfulness. Being trustful that people are safe when they are dealing with you. In incident happened before the revelation that the Meccan people agreed that they are going to renovate the Kaaba building, which was holy for them also, even before the beginning of Islam. And they were so different. They differed greatly. Who is going to have the honor of moving the black stone?
Yes.
And they agreed to solve this situation, that they are going to wait for the first one to come to decide who's going to carry the black stone. And luckily, when they discovered that the first place they were standing was Muhammad, peace be upon him, our Prophet, even before being a prophet, everyone was comfortable. Okay, this is the Sadiq al-Amin, as he was known. This, even people not calling him with his name as Muhammad, as-Sadiq al-Amin, just we tell the, regardless of the virtues of the being a prophet, it is a must for every chosen prophet to have this, that we trust him, that he is going to deliver the words of Allah to the humanity, or whatever people he is revealed, the message is revealed for him to deliver to his people, or the humanity, in the case of our prophet. Mercy, not to forget mercy, justice, being just among his family and among all people, self-resilience, able to stand with these hardships, because the mission of delivering the message of being a prophet to people, something so dangerous.
Yes.
Can you imagine that you are maybe killed any moment? You are changing the belief of people, their what they used to live for maybe tens or hundreds of years. This is a so crucial mission that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us that this is a hard job. That's why the prophets are chosen among the elite of humanity.
Yes.
And our prophet comes on the top because he's one of the ulul azm.
Yes.
There is a category of prophets that we call ulul azm, or people of great patience, because they had the most hardship with their people.
Yes. Dr. Asmaa, we'd like to know more about how Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, used to treat his family and daughters and his wives.
When we come to this part of the life of our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, it is something that me personally love so much to speak about. It is a role model if you follow the daily dealings of the Prophet with his wives, yes, and with his daughters. And the most famous situation in this regard, you find yourself that you are amazed how good manners can affect the peace and the tranquility of and the quality of the life you lead. Can you imagine that more than 1,000 a year, that a man in the Arabian Peninsula and the people who lived without having these etiquette of life, whenever, an example that I truly love, whenever the daughter of our Prophet Muhammad, Fatima, the youngest daughter, used to come to his house, he would stand up to receive her and hug her and kiss her. Can you imagine this? Even in our modern life, still some people with some mentality may not accept it from a man in his position. He's a prophet and with old age, and the daughter is still young and strong. He would stand up.
He was so kind and tender to his daughters.
Even to especially for the daughters. Another example, very important example, when his daughter was married to an unbeliever. She was married, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided that every woman, Muslim woman married to unbeliever, should leave him. He was taken as a prisoner of war. And his wife, Zainab, the daughter of our Prophet, felt so sad that her husband was taken as a prisoner. She took one of the necklace of her mother, Khadija, and went to the Prophet, our Prophet, peace be upon him, to ask him to release her husband even if he is unbeliever. When our Prophet saw just the necklace of Lady Khadija, she didn't speak. She just held the necklace in her hand, a sign that she had a special position to the Prophet. Our Prophet said a very wise word: if you would like to free her prisoner, I would be happy for this. Another situation, when Ali ibn Abi Talib was married to Fatima, and he wanted to marry again, as it was something very common among the people. He wanted to remarry on her, to marry a new woman. Allah's Prophet went to the member, the place where he giving the khutbah, and he decided that I'm not going to say something haram for something that Allah made halal. But my daughter is going to be unhappy, and I will be unhappy if she is unhappy. Can you imagine the degree of mercy, the degree of good manners? He didn't oppose the situation. I'm your prophet, everyone is going to follow me. He was not hard to the Muslims. Regardless of whatever happens, he was dealing with a very good manners, especially with his wives. I can tell you many situations with Lady Khadija.
Yes.
Even if we focus on the marriage of our Prophet to Lady Khadija, can you imagine a young man of his 20s married to a lady of her 40s? She married twice before with more than one child. No one can imagine how wise our Prophet was. And he was thinking differently. He was able to reach to a degree of acceptance and understanding that we are missing nowadays in many.
And this brings us to a very important point, since you've mentioned Sayyida Khadija. She was a working woman, and she worked with trade. And Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, when he married her, he helped her with her trade. And this shows how Islam admired the women and wanted the woman to work.
It is something not opposed by Islam, because women have their own abilities. If they are able to have the balance between their life, working and being and having a family and leading the family in a very good way, no one can stop you from being working. Lady Khadija is a role model in dealing with trade. She was a very rich and very important businesswoman, and the Prophet didn't, even after Islam, didn't mention that this something was not accepted, was not allowed or something like this, and he didn't stop one of his wives, other wives, Lady Hafsa bint Umar, from being educated. She was able to read and write. She was the one whom the whole Muslims agreed to give her a copy of the Quran with the whole Quran with it was collected into one book, because she was able to read and write, and this was something so rare at the time, to find a daughter of the Arabian people able to read and write.
Yes, yes. So we are going to a short break, and we are going to be back with our dear guest, Dr. Asmaa Elzieny. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are continuing our interview with our dear guest, Dr. Asmaa Elzieny, the academic researcher at Al-Azhar University. Well, as we are celebrating the occasion of the birth of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, what is the message of Prophet Muhammad and the lessons that we should learn from Prophet Muhammad?
The messages that we can take from his whole life, and his good manners are many, regarding dealing with different people. خالق الناس بخلق حسن. We should be dealing with people in our best manners. If it comes to the dealing with the children and mercy to children, it is something that our Prophet, in number of situations and days, assured that we should be having mercy, especially to the young. This is something that I remember with the horrible things happening nowadays against our innocent children in different parts of the world, like in Palestine, that we should be having mercy even to the animals, to all creatures, to planets, that we should respect that the whole universe is the creation of Allah for a purpose. We should show our mercy as believers and Muslims toward the whole universe, to the non-Muslims. We are not ordered only to have mercy and respect and love for our fellow Muslims, even the un-Muslims, our fellow Christians and Jews. We are ordered to not to have a hatred against them, as long as they are not harming our Muslim community. The other good manners, like keeping your word, being trustful, being true to people, not to have hypocrisy, not to have bad intentions, not to speak bad about people. All these good traits and characteristics could be taken as a final message. If we come to the final ceremony or khutbah al-wada', during hajjat al-wada', during the khutbah, اتقوا الله في النساء. Be so kind to the women, and take care of your prayer. These are of the very dear, and we should be following these messages along all our life.
Yes, so it's one of the important discourse, of course. So as we are speaking about how Prophet Muhammad treated his wives, the women in general, and also his daughters. In Islam, some said that in inheritance, men inherit more than the women. And actually what happens is that sometimes the girl inherits more than her uncle or than her grandfather. When her father dies, she inherits more than the men in the family. So could you shed light on this, please?
Actually, the whole issue of inheritance in Islam is one of the most misunderstood issues, not only by non-Muslims, even by some Muslims. They don't know how the system of inheritance works. Let's explain little bit points about this. The system of inheritance in Islam depends on your degree to the dead people, the dead one, not your gender, if you are a man or a woman. As you mentioned, in some cases, some situations, there are 3 different cases. In some cases, women may inherit more than men. In other cases, she can take equal to the man. In some situation, in some cases, women take and men in the same position, same degree to the dead,
Yes.
doesn't take any share.
Yes.
Plus, what is very famous about the system of inheritance, that a man has 2 shares while a woman has only 1 share. This is for a very wise reason. Yes, it is something that we are not shy of or ashamed of. Something, because the system of inheritance in Islam depends not on individual, it depends on families. Can you imagine when we are a family, there is a man and woman, a man is going to have 2 shares and a woman is going to have 1 share in one family. All in all, how many shares in one family? 3 and 1?
Yes.
Sorry, 2 and 1, they are 3.
2 and 1, yes.
So each family is going to inherit how many shares? 3 shares. So this is equal. But we are people who are going to have a discourse against Islam, which would only take the appearance of what is in the ayah. So we should make it clear that there are some cases when women inherit and men doesn't inherit. There are other cases when women has double than men. And there are situations when they have equal shares.
Yes. And concerning the ownership, she can own whatever she wants and buy whatever land she wants.
Women in Islam has what we call separate money. She has a separate zimma maliyya. She has the right to sell and buy and own and give and whatever this freedom was not granted to women before Islam. In some other civilizations, women were considered as inherited. Whenever a man dies and leaves a wife, she was considered part of his inheritance. And in the Quran and Islam give the woman rights that undeniable, even in marriage. I give you an example. When a woman came to our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and the right of marriage is a very important right granted to women only in Islam. When a young lady came to our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and told him that my father approved my marriage to the son of his brother, my cousin, and I don't like this guy. I'm not comfortable to marrying him. He said, okay, you have the full freedom to agree or to refuse, to accept or to refuse the marriage. She said, I accept this marriage, but I came especially, can you see how wise this lady was? I came just to let women know that their father doesn't have the right to force them. Yes. They have the full right to accept or to refuse their marriage.
Yes.
This is another right other than inheritance that came clearly in the Quran. A very clear example in Surah Al-Mujadala, when another woman came to our Prophet telling him about what happened from her husband, that he committed what was known before Islam as zihar. This was considered a complete, she was divorced. Zahar is a very special case when a man tells a woman that she is haram for him, like his mom, like the back of his mom. The back in Arabic is zahar and the kiss is zihar. Is what considered before Islam a complete divorce. Never come back to him. And she had children. She told the Prophet, when I became old, my husband, he told me that I'm divorced. And I have children. If I take the children, they wouldn't find anything to eat. If he is going to take care of he is not going to take a very good care of the children. For the sake of this woman complaining to the Prophet, a special ayahs in the Quran were revealed. قد سمع الله قول التي تجادلك في زوجها. Special ayahs were revealed. And these ayahs are still recited. We as Muslims recite these ayahs as worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and still mentioning a very weak woman. And in many other ayahs, all these ayahs show that Islam and Quran put the woman in a very elevated position. She is respected. Her decision is respected. Her position in community as all is very high.
Yes. Doctor, we are going to a short break. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to a short break and we are going to be back with our dear guest. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Resuming our interview with our dear guest, Dr. Asmaa Elzieny, academic researcher at Al-Azhar. Dr. Asmaa, also would like to know more about the attitude and the lessons we learn from Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in treating his neighbors.
Yeah, treating neighbors is one of the very notable characteristics of Muslim manners. Can you imagine that in Islam, everyone living next to you, whether it is a Muslim or none, has rights on you? If he's a Muslim, he has three types of rights: being a neighbor, being a Muslim, maybe if he's one of your relatives, he has three different rights on you. If he is a Muslim only and your neighbor, he has two rights. And if he is a non-Muslim, he has the full and complete rights of being a neighbor. How do we treat our neighbors? With complete honesty, with complete keeping the word, because when you are a neighbor to someone, you have a chance to listen to something that someone may not be able to listen. Your neighbor is the first one to come to save you if you are in danger. These rights were given to whatever neighbor you have near to you.
Yes.
Being a Muslim, non-Muslim, young, old, man, woman, they have rights. Okay, and being a relative, more and more of these rights towards him. This is something that we are missing in our life. Sometimes people living in a very big building or a very rich whatever compound, whatever, they may not know who is next to their door.
Yes.
These are not the true manners of Islam.
Yes.
If we follow the messages received from our Prophet, peace be upon him, the neighbor has a full right on you. We
Yes.
should be dealing, helping, caring, and being trust to him.
Yes. Also, we'd like to know how Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, treated his friends or his companions. He was so democratic and he discussed every issue with them.
Actually, those lucky companions who followed our Prophet at the very beginning of the time of Islam were lucky enough because they had the chance to witness this very good manner. Actually, I feel that in Islam, friendship is like being a complete brother. A very role model in this regard is the relationship between Prophet Muhammad and his very close friend Abu Bakr Siddiq.
Yes, actually it was mentioned also in Quran.
Yes.
المؤلفة قلوبهم.
These are the poor people when we take care of to be able to appreciate the manners of Islam.
But it was after this by Umar ibn al-Khattab, it was forbidden because he saw that this may cause some problems between the relatives, isn't it? Yes.
It is enough to mention that in ayah of the Quran is يَقُولُ لِصَاحِبِهِ لَا تَحْزَنْ. What is the meaning of these ayahs? The Prophet during the Hijrah, the journey of Hijrah from Mecca to Medina, Abu Bakr was so keen on the Prophet and was afraid that they may attack him from the front or from the back or from the side. The Prophet was so kind when he noticed how worried Abu Bakr was on that day. He said, don't be sad. We are in the care of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And whenever you recite these ayah, remember, a friend has rights. It has right on you to take care of his heart, of his feeling, of what he's worried about. It is not just when you are a friend to someone, it is not someone, it is not only one word. It is a true feeling, a true experience. It is part of you. This was what happening between our Prophet and his companions. In another one of the other companions, when the Prophet said to Muaz, one of the Prophet companions, Wallahi ya Muaz, inni la uhibbuk. Oh, when he loved someone, our Prophet didn't feel ashamed or something, that to confess that I love you as my companion, as my friend. And in another situation, he was mentioning a very good trait of our Prophet, peace be upon him, that he used to mention the good traits of each one separately. He would mention that Abu Bakr gave me his money and he helped me, and mention all these traits in different times. When it came time, when it was time at the history of Islam, when all doors of the mosque were closed, the first mosque, the Prophet mosque, had different doors on different roads. When these doors were closed, Prophet ordered that all doors will be closed except the door leading to the street of his friend Abu Bakr. Appreciating that he was so keen on coming so soon to the mosque.
Yes.
When you read these examples and know about them, you find out how he was so kind to his friends and appreciating this friendship.
Yes, yes. Dr. Asmaa, recently Egypt hosted Islamic conference, and less than a month ago.
Yeah.
During this conference was high on the agenda of this conference the women empowerment, and also the conference discussed women being as preachers.
Yeah.
So give us an idea about the importance of this. Now the woman can be a preacher.
Yeah.
It's very important, of course.
Yes, during the conference, the 25th International Conference of the Supreme Council of Islamic Affairs,
Yes.
by the Ministry of Awqaf, this conference this year was held under the concept or the theme of the role of women in our community and empowering women.
Yes.
From an Islamic perspective. The sub-themes of the conference were...
So there are three things we'd like to speak about. The role
Yeah.
of women in the family,
Yeah.
And women empowerment, and also women as a preacher.
Yeah.
So these are
Let's
the
start
three
with
points.
women as preacher, because
Yes.
it is a very dear experience of the
Experience,
Egyptian
of course.
state. Yes.
Yes.
There was a need for having female preachers, because in a normal situation there are feelings and situations that only women can understand from each other. You feel comfortable speaking to a male preacher, sometimes telling your situation, but when it comes to some situations, special cases, special days, special that only women witness and live, experience.
Yes.
You need this female preacher.
Yes.
But what category of people we need? We need people who are very well learned, they know about Islamic Sharia, and they know about their community, and they are aware of what's happening in the world. So preparing a female preacher is something not easy at all, but Egypt started the experience, and it is one of the pioneering experiences of having female preachers all over the world, in the whole Muslim world.
Yes.
And this conference, the one held last month, we received people participating from more than 60 countries.
Yes.
With more than 120 guests.
Yes.
One of the the guest speaker and the honorary guest of the conference was the female of the Indonesian president. This lady played her role as being the first lady for a long time. Then she decided to take the role of doing charity and empowering women and helping people all over the world.
Yes.
So we are inviting these type of guests to show them our experience of having the first female preacher in the world, in the whole Islamic world. The Ministry of Awqaf has more than 600 female preachers. Number of them are holders of masters and PhDs in different specialties, not only in Islamic Sharia, in psychology, in geography, in different specialties. And they are really doing a job that we are very proud of. They are going to different places, playing a very important role in very important situations, and in different occasions, the celebrations, during the academic year, during helping the poor, helping the sick. They are, as the experience is pioneering, what they are doing is so special.
Yes.
And also at Al-Azhar there are number of preachers, I believe more than 300 female preachers. Some of them are preaching even in foreign languages, and this is something so special about the experience. And they are receiving training every now and then to keep them to the latest in the field of da'wah and preaching.
Yes. Now we'd like to also, the second thing we said, the role of women in the family.
This was one of the sub-themes of the conference. Yes, the role of women in their families, because whenever we speak about the right of women to work and to have education and participate in public life, it doesn't never mean to neglect the families. Family in the life of women are priority. What we need to have is the balance between between the two, the family and being working, whatever preaching, teaching, whatever participating in public life. But we also need our community to be mature enough and be ready enough to help women to play this role.
Yes.
Adequately. We should have places that is very good places for children, someone to help taking care of the young while being young, while the woman is outside performing her role in preaching and whatever. And also we need to have a mindset of the women and the men in our community that this is something important. Because our community, if only depending in, can you imagine a whole community depending only on men? Men and women are the two legs, like the two legs on which the community would stand.
Yes.
If you lose half of this, you stand only on one leg. But we need to have conditions that's suitable to help them to perform this role.
Yes, sir. We are going to a short break, and we are going to be back with our dear guest, Dr. Asmaa Elzieny.
نور على الأكوان تجري له الأزمان نور على الأكوان تجري له الأزمان تشكو به الركبان تشكو به الركبان شوقا 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 إلى
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Continuing our interview with our dear guest, Dr. Asmaa Elzieny, academic researcher at Al-Azhar. Well, Dr. Asmaa, we'd like also to shed light on Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his keenness on the rights of the girls and the women.
The rights that were given to women in Islam and in the Quran are there are a number of these rights. One of the very important rights is the right of marriage, to accept or to refuse. But it is not
to accept the marriage and to get divorced, and to she has the right to do everything.
Because Islam sees women as mature enough to decide for herself.
She can decide to marry, and she can decide to get divorced also.
Yes, and there is a very special type of divorce which is khula.
Yes.
Divorce for money. You imagine that in some situations, in some other religions, people, when they have this impossible life between wife and husband, they cannot deal with divorce. They cannot have this. In Islam, you can have this divorce when it is necessary. There is impossible life between wife and husband.
Yes, and there's an example of the
special
situation.
degree of the situation
Yes,
of the khula. Yeah, the first case.
Could you give us an idea about this example that a woman went to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and told him that she doesn't want her husband anymore?
Usually the revelation of ayahs we call asbab al-nuzul. There is a reason for some ayahs to be revealed.
Yes.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the better for Muslims, and this was the verses. Yes, this situation when a woman came to our Prophet, said that I am married to someone, I'm not willing to continue in my life. She was asking, does he have bad manners? She said, not at all, but I'm not willing to continue my life with him. The right situation in the right what happened rightly in this situation, that the Prophet said a very wise saying to her husband. He ordered the lady, the woman, to give back what she took as dowry, as her mahr. She was taking a very huge garden. Yes, and the man was willing to divorce her. And a very famous saying, خذ الحديقة وطلقها التطليقة. She was ordered to give back the mahr, the gift for marriage, what we call in Arabic mahr, to give it back to the man, and the man to divorce her peacefully without the horrible things that usually happen.
Because she is the one who wants to get the
yes,
divorce.
this is a very special type that we call marriage for money or khula. She has the right to ask for divorce. So she has the complete right to accept marriage, to choose and to accept a man and refuse him for no reason. He is not, I cannot stand living with him before marriage, I mean. To accept the continuance of marriage, or to complete what we call khidbah from the very beginning. And when it comes to marriage, she has responsibilities. When it comes to marriage, a woman is responsible. الرجل راع في أهله ومسؤول والمرأة راعية. She is responsible. She has responsibilities. She should be taking care of the family because she is responsible of her husband, what happening between them, of the children, of his money, of everything inside the family. She is responsible. And she, as you said, has the complete right of asking for normal divorce for the man to leave her. If he doesn't accept this, if it's hard for him, she would ask for for divorce on her own. When she doesn't need this money, she would give the money back to the man and have divorce. Regardless of the reasons, you imagine what is happening in these modern times. We hear about very bad experience of people happening when they ignore the true ruling and the true manners of true Muslims in this situation.
Of the religion. Yes. Dr. Asmaa, how did the friends and the companions of Prophet Muhammad abided by his rules?
You discover to which degree they abided to this rules and this advices when you see how the community lived at that time.
It continued with the same on the same track as Prophet Muhammad said.
Because they were willing to change their life. I believe the reason that the companions of Prophet Muhammad followed his advices and his manners, because they wrote a living example. When you see a living example, you are able to follow. Sometimes we need these Muslim occasions. I'm so happy on these occasions to talk about the life of our Prophet, because our young people need to know this example, that he lived to a level of good manners that may enable us to change our life if you are a true followers.
Yes. Well, also Prophet Muhammad, before he dies, give us an idea about his life.
All sides of the life of our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, could be seen as a role model. As you said at the beginning of our discussion, his dealings with his wife. Can you imagine that a man living with a number of wives, sometimes dealing with women, needs a wise man to be able to have that balance. Sometimes one man is not able to make his only one wife happy. Living with only one wife and she's not happy, they cannot understand each other. At that time, the Prophet was able to live with number of wives who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed him to marry. And he was having a balanced life. This was young, this was old, this was rich, this was beautiful, this was not that beautiful. This balance and this harmony comes from having a very complete character and a pure soul, that when you are following, living your life for the sake of Allah, sometimes you give up on some things that are not that very important in life. The life of our Prophet Muhammad, the dealings of his dealings with men, his fellow Muslims, the companions, Sahaba, and even to the women, the young, even the unbeliever in the time of war. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala war happens at some situations. We are ordered to have
Yes.
this, but with manners. The Prophet ordered that no tree is cut, no animal is slaughtered except for the sake of eating an animal,
Yes.
not for cutting the head and
Yes.
being blood shedding all the time. After the war, whenever he was asked to have peace on whatever condition after the war, he would accept. These are the true manners of our Prophet that we became not very aware of the very high traits and virtues of his life.
Yes, yes. So what was his advice before he died?
As very two
For
very
his family and
important
friends?
the khutbah that I mentioned just minutes ago, that khutbah al-wada', it included like a protocol of life.
Yes.
He mentioned about riba, dealing of money, which is very important to take care of, and he spoke about prayer in different parts of the khutbah, and dealing with Muslims, with non-Muslims, and their life, and how to recite the Quran. The two very important last advice. الصلاة وما ملكت أيمانكم. This was not only during the khutbah, even when our Prophet became sick, just before his death.
Yes.
الصلاة, this was the last advice. During the khutbah al-wada', it was اتقوا الله في النساء.
Yes.
Said like this, be very pious toward this woman. Just before his death, when he was giving the last advice to the whole Muslims, to Abu Bakr, to the family, to Aisha, to Fatima, to whatever family member was attending this very hard situation, the last few words were الصلاة وما ملكت أيمانكم. Take care of your prayer, be keen on performing your prayer on its time, as-salah, and all people, ما ملكت أيمانكم is not your slave. The people on your honesty, your mother, your father when becomes old, you control him, you have a power over him. If you are a teacher, you have a power on your student. If you are a doctor, you have a power on your patient. as-salah wa ma malakat aymanukum. Whenever people, you have power over them, the last advice was to take care of him.
Yes. This is a very special occasion for Muslims and for the Egyptians. I thank you very much for coming today and speaking to us in this nice and very special occasion. Thank you very much for coming today, Dr. Asmaa Elzieny, the academic researcher at Al-Azhar.
Thank you so much. It's always pleasure to be with you.
It's a pleasure for us also. Thank you so much. And with this, my dear viewers, we come to the end of this episode of our program Windows. My name is Aman Mukhtar. Thank you for watching.